So this week we're doing stereotypes, and this will be a quick video from me right after I'm nipping off to get some poutine and hang out with my separatist friends. Yay! So this week we are doing stereotypes. In case you do not know, I am the Canadian of the group, and I live in Montreal. And I could easily do Canadian stereotypes because there are many, and they're all wrong. But I thought it'd be more interesting to do some Quebec and Montreal stereotypes because I feel like Montreal is one of the most misunderstood, or Quebec is one of the most misunderstood provinces in Canada. So first, one of the first things about Quebec in general is that we all eat poutine, which is like the best food ever. I love it. And this is pretty much true. Like, a lot of people love poutine. And poutine is a plate of french fries with brown gravy and cheese curds. I can't really explain to you what a cheese curd is, but it's hard. I find it's difficult to find this in different parts of Canada, but in French it's called le fromage squeak squeak, because it makes a squeaky sound when they're put together. So some people call it squeaky cheese. And then the gravy is special gravy. I don't know how it's special, but we find that, well, I don't eat cheese anymore, but when I used to, if you went to Ontario and got poutine, it just tasted awful. And I'm saying poutine, Poutine, not poutang, like the vagina. Okay? And maple syrup. I believe Quebec is the #1 distributor of maple syrup, at least in North America and Canada. I don't know. Anyone who's from Vermont can correct me if I'm wrong. Yes, we do have a lot of maple syrup, but it's still ridiculously expensive. The cheapest I've seen it is $7.99 for a can. So, but it's good, and I love maple syrup. Another big stereotype is Céline Dion. Céline Dion is a singer from Quebec. No, we don't all listen to her, and she's an embarrassment. We also have Rock Voisine. If you want to go to French music, we have a lot of ridiculous French music, but it's fun. Oh, I have them written down next to me because I couldn't remember most of them. So another good one is that I'll tell someone, oh, come to Quebec, come visit me, and they'll be like, I don't want to come, it's all French there. No, it's not. As you may or may not notice, I do not have French accent. That's a terrible French accent, but you know what I'm getting at. And I was born and raised here, and my French is horrible. So, there are a lot of English. To give you an example, let's say that my hand is Montreal. Then you also have Westmount and the West Island. And it's very English on the West Island. The West Island is a collection of different little towns and islands. Very English. I think most of the Lester B. Pearson School Board, which is English high schools and elementary schools, is pretty much English. Bad drivers. This one is not a lie. This one is completely true. And another thing about driving and pedestrians and things like that is that a lot of people joke that Montreal pedestrians take their lives in their hands, because you'll be driving down St. Catherine Street in the middle of downtown, and all of a sudden a pedestrian will run across the street just randomly. And yeah, it happens a lot. Separatism. For anyone who's not familiar with the Quebec separatist thing, way back in Quebec and Canadian history, some French people were like, hey, how come these and these countries can separate and create their own country, but we can't? So we're going to separate and create Quebec, the country, and not be under the rule of English Canada. It didn't work. They couldn't get separated. The problem with separation is that if we did separate, our economy would go in the toilet, and we would all be screwed. And actually, 99% of English people I know say that if it actually happened where we would separate, most people I know would move, me included. Like, I would take off the second I had a chance. They tried again to separate in 95, and they almost won, but they did not. And nowadays, like, separatism is just, like, extreme crazy French people, and I know a few, like, I have a few friends that are, like, francophone and stuff, and they're like, yeah, I would not want to separate, that would be so stupid. But then there's, like, the Vive la Quebec people who are crazy. So, yeah. Yeah, separatism, not cool. Yeah, that's something. Not all of us are separatists. What you think about that, biatch? So, those are, like, the general, like, stereotypes of Quebec. And I'm just going to get into a couple West Island ones because they're kind of funny. So, especially if you're from the West Island, you'll be highly entertained. The two biggest ones, at least for, like, kids around my age, is I went to a school in a little town called Saint Anne de Bellevue, called McDonald High School. Now, anyone from the West Island would immediately go, oh, I see. So you're an idiot and a stoner. Because the problem with MAC, my school, is that it's kind of known for its drug busts and the fact that the school itself is absolute shit. When I went there, like, girls would not use the bathrooms at all because there were some bathrooms that had absolutely no stall around the toilet. Like, it had been ripped down and graffitied so badly that it was just disgusting. And there were rumors that there was an infestation of crabs in a few of the toilets, so no one would use them. And there was, like, several drug busts while I was there. And, like, in a lot of high schools, it's like, you know, you always have your slight amount of drugs and arrests, maybe, but ours was to the extreme. Like, in my graduating year, the principal went to the extreme level and brought in, like, drug dogs, so no one was allowed to leave their classes. So it was pretty extreme, and so, like, people get teased a lot if they come from MAC, and they're not proud of it. I'm not really that proud of coming from MAC. Then there's John Abbott. John Abbott is a cégep, and a cégep is Collège de blah blah blah, and it's pretty much a really long acronym for college. And it's kind of like after you finish high school, you go to cégep, and then you go to university, or you go to cégep and then get a job. And so the thing about Abbott is that in Montreal, in the Montreal area, there's not a lot of cégeps to begin with. There's Marianopolis, which is like a private cégep, and it's like for the insanely smart kids. Then the public cégeps are Vanier, Dawson, and John Abbott. John Abbott's the only one on the West Island. So any West Island kids who want to go to Vanier or Dawson have to travel, you know, around an hour by like public transit or take their car to go to the other cégeps because they're far. Now, Dawson and Vanier are generally known as the smart, you know, legit smart kid kind of cégeps, like, you know, you'll get a decent education there and then you'll go on to university. Abbott is another story. Abbott is a very good school and it's a lot of fun. I went there for 2 years and then dropped out because I'm stupid, and so it was a lot of fun. Like, I really enjoyed my time there, and it's a small-ish cégep. There's only like 5,000 kids or something, or there might be more than that, I don't know, maybe I'm lying. And but the funny thing about it is that all the kids who go on res there just wear sweatpants all day. So it's like, people call it like the sweatpants cégep or the sweatpants college. It's kind of funny, actually. So, and like, you'll go into class, and if you're a hardcore, very studious student who happens to not be in honors, like, you'll look around and kids will be in the back sleeping or on their iPods or whatever and, like, not paying attention. It's not uncommon for a lot of kids to be on probation. So stereotypes here, there's nothing overly insulting unless you're like, oh my god, fuck them French people or something. I will see you guys next week.